And we are live! Hello and welcome to the stream. Sorry I am late today. I have some exciting things for you today. Very exciting. I've been waiting a long time to be able to show these off. So, first of all, there is this thing. This is so fun. It's the Anticlamp from iFixit. It makes repairs on phones and iPads that are glued together so much easier. Just seriously. The Anticlamp, if you're doing multiple repairs, this thing is just so good. So good. And we're also going to cover how it works on this iPad that is a refurbished iPad. And this laptop that is being investigated because reportedly it only turns on when you hold it together and in a certain position. That doesn't sound very good for a computer. So, let's get straight to it, shall we? First of all, the Anticlamp. What is it? Well, essentially, it's just two suction cups that when you twist this, it slowly pulls them away from one another. Well, when it's locked, it'll slowly pull them away from one another, right? Which means that one side will get pulled up and the other will not. So the entire process is to grab your device, be it an iPad, iPhone, or whatever, put the anti-clamp on it, squeeze it into place, and then lock it by flicking it forward, which is difficult to do on a larger device like an iPad. Then essentially, it looks like this. And you ever so slightly twist this, and it will lift up the display for you. And essentially, you need very little heat. I mean, you still might need heat. It's still much easier with heat. But essentially, you just slowly twist this, and it'll lift the entire display up just like that. Makes it so much easier. Like, look at that. How easy was that? Then you can just like, I mean, this iPad already had the adhesive removed, but yeah, that is very, very nice. The anti-clamp makes life so much easier. I cannot wait to use it. You can also reverse turn it if you want to gently put the device back together, because I am not gluing it down yet. So, this is one of the coolest things for phone repairs out there. It works on phones, iPads, whatever. And the next interesting thing is this new screwdriver. Well, it's not really new. It's new to me. I got it from iFixit because it was cheaper than on Amazon. You see, this is basically a motorized screwdriver. Well, it is. There's nothing special about it. You know, you press the button, and it lights up. It goes one way or the other way. There is nothing special about this product. I mean, it works with all the screws from the it works with all the bits from the existing iFixit toolkit, but so do other models similar to this. Now, why did I pick this one? Simply because it was cheapest. Yes, there are other models that have USB-C rechargeable rather than stupid AAA batteries, but this one was half the price of those because it was on sale. And honestly, I can deal with AAA batteries. Like, you can buy rechargeable AAA batteries. That's what I have in this. And yes, it's slightly more inconvenient to have to take them out, put them in a charger, and rather than just plugging in a USB-C cable. But at the end of the day, it does its job, and it's iFixit, so you know it's going to last pretty much forever. You can see I've like migrated the tools that I'm keeping from the last week's iPad Air battery fix. You can see I've migrated the tools that I am keeping, and the rest of them from the fixed kit are gone because they're just duplicates of what I have in my Project Toolkit, even though the Project Toolkit is better. iFixit is not a sponsor, however, they do make some of the most incredible tools on the planet. Another great tool out there is the Linus Tech Tip Screwdriver. Not for phone repairs, But for literally anything else, this screwdriver, anything that's not precision work like a laptop or a phone, this screwdriver is the absolute best screwdriver I've ever used. It's the best ratcheting screwdriver. It's got the most satisfying ratcheting mechanism of any screwdriver. Just listen to that. So good. It's got the perfect amount of resistance, and that the little details on the screwdriver itself mean you can use it as sort of a precision screwdriver. So, highly, highly great product. Now that's enough shilling out for one stream. Let's get from the products and move along to the star of the show, the laptop. Now these Asus laptops, I have opened one before, but I'm still going to pull up a guide because it's been a while. I do not really appreciate Asus's design here. It's very, very frustrating the way they've done certain things. So, Asus TV12FA. iFixit have actually done a teardown on this laptop, which is surprising. Yeah. So I'm just going to basically, the main thing I need to do is get this base off without damaging it. Now I know on the earlier models of these specific computers, it was extremely, extremely frustrating to get the base plate off because you'd have to do like a reverse clipping thing. It's not like the MacBooks where you can just like remove the clips sideways and then pull up the base plate. Now I'd actually argue that this computer, well, not this one maybe, the earlier model of these computers, it was more difficult to open up than a MacBook was. Now maybe that's just because I do MacBooks often and I've gotten used to them. But I found them to be quite the most frustrating. Now, of course, for this situation, actually, due to the amount of screws that I know will be in this computer, I'm going to use the motorized screwdriver. Because minus tech tip screwdriver is satisfying. But when there's a lot of screws, it's just so frustrating to have to deal with them. So, iFixit motorized one it is. Now, based on this iFixit guide, I'm going to keep these screws organized because that's very tight. There's not enough torque. This is my first time using this, by the way. So it's interesting to learn that there is not enough torque for a tight screw, which is where the interesting. In the future, I should probably come out with a full review of this, because the fact that it didn't even have enough torque for one screw. Also, this laptop already has a screw missing, yikes. The fact that it didn't have enough torque with that screw is surprising to me. Okay, well, there's one screw missing, I can't really help that. But that's very loose. Was I too lazy to get the regular tweezers? Yeah. they're visually distinct enough that I can easily tell them apart. I'm not using the regular top-down angle until I get this base plate off, because it is too easy to see the serial number on the base of this computer. I'm trying my best to not reveal someone else's serial number. I mean, the computer's already in an unusable condition, but still. Oh lord. Based on the iFixit guide, that screw's in the wrong place. That's a longer screw in. Let's play a fun game of, has this computer been worked on before? I think so, because the screws, there was one missing, and the screws are in the wrong places. So I'm willing to bet this computer has been worked on before. Okay, let's see how they... Okay, yep. So, as I suspected with this Asus laptop, you're gonna have to start prying and prodding at it. It's not just a simple pull up the base plate. A couple of clips are okay. I'm not arguing against a couple of clips. But, okay, it's already unclipped. Yep, okay. Well, the clips were not clipped. The clips were not clipped. At all. Let's switch to a better top-down angle now that I've removed the sensitive information from the frame. Okay, here is the laptop that you can see. Yeah, so, this is surprisingly dusty. Let me just... Hang on. I'm gonna have to step out the room for this, because actually that's just a later problem. But I'm not gonna dust that off without a fan in this room. First of all, clips not clipped in. Second of all, there appears to be some gunk on the Wi-Fi antenna, which is weird. That's strange. This whole computer just isn't very pleasing to look at compared to the like MacBooks, even though apparently it's the same price. Like, I get that it flips and stuff, but like, really? You'd buy this when a MacBook's the same price? Yeah, I wouldn't. I I personally wouldn't. But you know. Now to figure out what is wrong with it. Can you imagine if this is one of those computers that if the base plate isn't on, the thing doesn't turn on? Oh yeah, these computers are also famous because the screens, they love to fall out. And once the screen starts falling out, well, the touchscreen stops working, and then suddenly your flip computer is no longer a flip. It's now just a regular computer. Now, what is this covering the USB ports? Looks like a protective film of some sort. I'ma just up and remove real quick. Well, where are the cracks? The computer itself. Okay, there's a crack. That's causing a structural problem. I don't know if it's causing a logic board problem or not. I mean, this is fun to look at on the inside, but very gross. What would happen if I tried to turn this thing on right now? Would it spin up? Let's find out. Oh, we had something. Not sure what that something was. It spun like slightly. Let's open it and try again. Also, these computers, I know that they love to think that they're closed when they're open. Okay, there's power light. There is a power light on the computer. But, computer's not doing anything. At least the screen isn't on the fan. Okay, fan and screen aren't doing anything, but there is a power on light. So firstly, I'm going to disconnect this battery to avoid damaging the computer. How does one do that properly? Let's follow the iFixit guide, because iFixit, they know best. You just unplug it. Okay, it's very simple. Ooh, wow, that logic board is flexy in there. How do you, what? Okay, first slide the metal clip away. Then unplug it. Wow, that was easy. So next thing is figuring out how do we do anything with this. Figure out what's wrong with it. Now, I would not go ahead and say that I would not say that this is a display connector problem based on the fact that the fan does spin up. If the fan was also to spin up, then I would say, oh, display is probably not connected properly or something like that. That's why you're not getting any life in the screen, but the computer seems to be on. The fact that the fan isn't doing anything means there's something else wrong. I know it seems crazy, but a simple disconnect and reconnect of the battery could at least help. I mean, it spun for a second. Now it does nothing. That's frustrating. Okay, let's force power it off again and put the base plate back on, because although unlikely, there is a possibility that this computer is one of those annoying computers that doesn't turn on without the base plate connected. Screw it, I'm disconnecting the battery again, because it did not want to turn off on me. So, if we put that base plate back on, before we put it back on, I have to change back to this, so private information is less easy to see. Now, if this laptop happens to be the type that does not turn on when the display is not connected. And the clips on the base of the computer are broken. That could be the cause of why it's not working. Now, how in the hell is this computer snapped directly down the middle? Can we get a top-down shot of that, please? Okay, the clips are not working on this computer. Look, do you see the crack? There is a crack down the middle. Okay, I gotta be... Yikes. Okay, if we hold it together... Try turning it on. Nothing. So the initial suggestion by the owner that it's a display connected on a cable is very unlikely. And, oh look, there's another crack over here. Okay, there's cracks on both sides. Yeah, I'm going to suggest that this computer is not worth working on based on the fact that the everything seems to not be working properly. I can't imagine all this flexing back and forth will be good for the logic board over the past however long it's been like this. And I cannot imagine that replacing the entire top case assembly and base plate, because the clips are snapped off, I can't imagine that would just be worth as much as this computer is, if you get what I mean. It's unfortunate, but I don't want to take this whole thing apart then be like, wow, that's an expensive mistake. Anyway, let's just put this anti-static surface back over the USB ports. I don't see why it has it, but it's there for a reason. Okay, now let's put the base plate back on. Try and clip in as many of those clips as we can. Hopefully some of them actually function. Yep, this computer is so damaged that the base plate is not going to go back on properly. But let us do it anyway. So where do the longer and the shorter screws go? iFixit will help with that. Let's see here. Okay, 4 longer screws, which there are only 3 because one went missing randomly. Ooh, that is... Now, I'm not sure if this is just anecdotal and the screws are cheap, or if it's that driver. Yeah, the magnet's definitely a lot stronger in the regular um the regular screwdriver. However, that does take more effort. So you win some, you lose some. It's not perfect. However, it is enjoyable to use compared to the other sorts of screwdrivers in existence. Compared to regular screwdrivers, it is certainly enjoyable to use because, you know, it makes a fun sound and you don't have to like twist your arm. Also, I like that the buttons correspond to the direction, so like if you push the up one, it'll pull the screw out. If you push the down one, it'll push the screw in. Because I've seen these before, and some of them have those buttons reversed, and it's really weird. Don't see why we would do that, but you know. So I'm glad iFixit got this thing mostly right. The only things I would change is rechargeable battery with USB-C charging. Chargeable battery with USB-C charging. And of course, I would personally make the magnet stronger. I like that a light turns on only when you're actually using the screwdriver, not all the time, because otherwise, if you have a dedicated screwdriver light button, you can leave it activated and just waste your battery for ages, which is very, very annoying to do. So I am glad that that is not happening. Oops, now let's put this last screw in. Now this computer will not turn on. I'm going to return it as is because in this shape, it's going to require further diagnoses that will be extremely difficult to do on stream. And honestly, it's kind of painful. Let's try turning it on one last time. Yeah, it's not turning on. I mean, if I could see, like, I was told that it turns on when you do, like, hold it in a certain place or press a certain, or put the screen at a certain angle. If I knew what that angle was, or where the screen needed to be, or where I need to press down to get it to work, that could give me a clue, and then I might be able to go through and fix it. But with this information, it would take too long to figure out what to do. So I'm going to call it a day for this laptop for now. And we're going to get back to some other good news. So, that iPhone XS that I repaired on stream before, I finished it off, put it back together with all the correct parts in it, and glued it together, and it's currently pending sale. And then, of course, the iPad that we fixed last week, at the end, I said, oh, look, Touch ID is not working. Well, the reason for that was actually very simple. That machine is now returned to the customer. Essentially, I did not plug in the Touch ID part properly under the screen. I disconnected it, reconnected it, and it worked perfectly fine. No issues there. So overall, I'm happy with that. On our YouTube channel that you're watching now, soon there will be a YouTube short coming out of me repairing an iPhone 6s, which will be fun. So, this laptop is still in rough shape. Let's look at the side profile here. If you look at the top-down camera, you can see that there's a chunk of plastic missing there. Yep, underneath the USB port. This side looks okay. Then you open up the computer and my god, cracking along here, cracking, same to this side. It's absolutely not okay. The computer fan is spinning, but very, very slowly. So unfortunately, without further diagnosis, this computer is currently not working, and it will be a not stream problem. Now, let's use the Anticlamp again to open up this lovely iPad to show you what's on the inside of it. So, Anticlamp goes on. Yes, this iPad is already lacking adhesive. However, so the Anticlamp isn't really necessary. It does make it a whole lot easier to deal with. So just open that. Let's get rid of this laptop. Whoop. Down you go. Okay. So, let us cut the glue, the small amount of glue that's left. Be extremely careful of Touch ID. And now, be careful of the camera while going around the other side of the iPad. Do not want to get the camera. Just going to put that there so it doesn't doesn't get loosened again. And that side still has glue in it. Okay. So then for this side, we're going to do a similar thing. Let's put this in here. And now we will release the anti-clamp, move it to the other side. And then after moving it to the other side, I will lock and then lift, lift, lift. And look at how easily it comes up now. And to release it, I just unlock it. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but on the end, and you may be like, why? And simple, so that way I can get it fully open, because you've got to open it that way, because that's where the connectors are on this model of iPad. So I'm just going to put it there. Make sure it's safe. And then gently lock and unscrew. And as per the instructions, you wait. Oh, it's not connected properly on the base. Okay, unlock, clamp down correctly, and then lock again. Nope, okay. It may be too far away from the top to work properly. suction those two down. Okay, now it's locked correctly. And twist. And the instructions say only give it a half turn at a time, but because the adhesive is already gone, it go for a full twist. Another half twist. Now we're just going to wait for it to lift up a bit. As you can see, just from that 1¼ twist, there's already a large gap at the top of the display that this has created, which is great. Just going to speed this process up a bit with the iFixit pick. Now, it's lifting it up more. Just break the glue, or what's left of it. Normally you do this process with heat, but that's... And now that the display is lifted, we can just disconnect it like that. Remove the anti-clamp and just lift up the display. Now we have access to the internals of the iPad. So as you can see, there are parts missing from this iPad that make it not yet ready for sale. Namely, all we have to do is put a cover on here for the display connector and a battery screw. That's it. Then this iPad Air will be ready for sale once glued back together. Other than that, it's fully functioning. Whoops. Ew, I should have probably turned it off before doing that. But, you can see it's functioning. Also, the home button needs to be glued in properly because at one point the display was swapped. You can actually see why it was swapped. At the top. But, yeah. So, that's how easy the anti-clamp is to use. That's why I love the idea of the anti-clamp so much. It's great. It makes life a whole lot easier. I would use it on something else other than this iPad Air 2, but I don't really have anything that's take-apartable right now, just for the fun of it, because I don't want to waste an adhesive or anything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Wasn't as successful as our other two streams, but it was really fun to use the anti-clamp and the screwdriver. So, hopefully next week is more exciting, and I will see you guys all then. Bye.